to this year's virtual ceremony for induction into the Richard LaMunyon Hall of Fame. Please welcome your host from New York, Kevin Brown.
Welcome to our Hall of Fame induction ceremony. My name is Kevin Brown. I am a Special Olympic athlete from New York, and I currently serve as the athlete appointee on the Executive Council. I am honored to be the host for this event. 27 years ago, the Richard LaMunyon Hall of Fame was created to recognize the finest of the Torch Run community. And tonight, in a very different format, we continue this fine tradition. Induction into the Hall of Fame, the most celebrated award given in our movement. Tonight, from a list of exceptional candidates, we will recognize 3 individuals who have shown time again that they embody what the Torch Run stands for and who has sacrificed much to ensure that myself and fellow athletes from around the globe live a life full of opportunities and inclusion. In our eyes, you all are heroes, and we will honor you each and every day. I would like to read this year's nominees. Scott Alderson, Joseph Carlos, Adam Christian, Doug Harlan, Chief Jones, Sean Maple, Mark McCarthy, James Myers, Stuart Mayer, Jim Nystorm, Dave Seafoot, Dave Tester, Fred Waters, Mark Warmeheiser, and June Warden. Please welcome the Executive Council Chairman from Down Under, Scott Wright.
Almost 30 years ago, the Richard LaMunyon Hall of Fame was created to recognize the finest of the Torch Run community, and today we continue this fine tradition. Induction into the Hall of Fame is the most prestigious award given in our movement. Today, from a list of exceptional candidates, we'll recognize 3 individuals who've shown time and again that they epitomize what the Torch Run stands for and who have sacrificed much to ensure that those with intellectual disabilities live a life full of opportunity and inclusion. Hall of Fame inductees, past, present, and future, have dared to carry the flame of hope into our uncharted territories, excelled our mission to new levels, and have demonstrated unwavering leadership in the development of our cause. You would have already seen the list of past Hall of Fame inductees scroll through on the screen. A large number of the inductees are with us today, and I thank them for taking the time to join us. To be nominated for the Richard LaMunyon Hall of Fame in and of itself is an honor of which you and your program can rightfully be proud. I would like to congratulate each and every one of the 13 nominees who were considered by the Hall of Fame Selection Committee. The mere fact that someone from their program felt that it was appropriate to submit a nomination on their behalf is a clear indication of how these people are regarded by their peers. As I said earlier, we have 3 nominees who will be inducted into the Hall of Fame today. I'd like to use this opportunity to thank the 5 other members of the Hall of Fame Selection Committee, all Hall of Fame inductees themselves, for their work this year on the selections. The members of the committee were Roberta Abner from Southern California, Jeremy Adams from Northern Ireland, Paul Manuel from Alberta, Mark Musso from Missouri, and Jeff Spaulding from Maryland. It's now time to let you know who our first inductee will be. I'll now hand over to Jeff Spaulding to make that announcement.
Good afternoon, Scott, and welcome to all. Our first inductee into the 2020 LETR Richard LaMunyon Hall of Fame is considered a pioneer within their local LETR program, with their involvement with the movement beginning in 1986. The inductee, whose daughter is a Special Olympics athlete, understood the importance, relevance, and need for law enforcement to become involved with Special Olympics and recognized the benefits of a positive connection between law enforcement and the community that would be enhanced by that relationship. Over the course of the next 33 years, in 2 police departments, the inductee led by example to drive the growth of the law enforcement torch run movement in their state. The inductee ensured that their officers were actively involved in fundraising efforts, including Cops on Rooftops, Tip a Cop, and the Polar Bear Plunge. In addition, officers from the inductees' departments began volunteering for medal presentations at state-based Special Olympics events. The inductee has served on their state's LETR Executive Council for many years, decades in fact, and for the majority of that time, they served as the chair of the council. In 2018, the inductee was chosen to serve as the chair of their state's International Conference Planning Committee. The inductee took on this role without hesitation, embracing the many challenges with pride, professionalism, and dedication. The CEO of the state's Special Olympics program said the following about the inductee. When I think of how a person can make meaningful, impactful change, the inductee immediately comes to mind. Their efforts have spanned the globe, all without any interest in or pursuit of recognition. They expend considerable time and energy for all the right reasons. Their passion, hard work, and humility are an inspiration to me. As I reflect on my own experience with the inductee and then consider the compounding effects of similar efforts since they started in 1986, it's hard to fully comprehend the true magnitude of his impact. However, I do think it's measurable, and I'm convinced it's safe to say that the inductee has, in many, many ways, touched the lives of hundreds of thousands of people. The inductee has helped build interactive, inclusive communities of dignity and respect in his backyard and in cities, counties, states, and countries all around the world. With these closing words, I would like to introduce the first inductee of 2020 into the LETR Richard LaMunyon Hall of Fame, Doug Holland of Maryland.
Jeff,
Doug, I'd like to invite you to make a few comments.
Yay, Doug!
I'm going to try. I got to tell you, I was surprised when I was nominated and deeply honored, and think I'm more surprised at the selection. So I can only say thank you to my Maryland committee members for the nomination, and thank you for the selection. The first thing that comes to mind when I think about the torch run and the thousands and thousands of officers that I've met is what's their why? Why do they do this? What's their inspiration? And in most cases, it's selfless. It's they're giving to Special Olympics athletes and their families. Quite honestly, my why, my inspirations are sitting here with me today. Desi, my daughter, and my wife Candy. They're the ones that have driven me for the decades and the decades. That's why I've been able to stick with it. I've also been been lucky, fortunate to be surrounded by great leaders. Hall of Famers from Maryland, including Tom Sneedland, John Noonan, Jeff Spalding, unsung heroes, Gus Proctor yesterday, Greg Shipley, who along with Tom founded the largest plunge in the world that has inspired many, many other states and countries. CEO, a great CEO, Jim Smuts, and liaison Betsy Giron, that their involvement is not just a job to them. Their involvement, that Special Olympics are their lives. And I've just been so fortunate to be around so many great folks dedicated to the torch run. I've past year and a half, I've gotten to know some folks on the international committee, Rodney Sauer and Joe and Lisa Carlone. Again, dedicated folks that go way beyond what most people would ever want to do. I won't belabor this other than say I'm humbled. I thank you. And I just point out that Desiree's been competing for 40 years. And my new focus and my new why is looking at athletes that have been around for the majority of Special Olympics. Special Olympics has celebrated their 50. Desi's been competing at 40. I just ask everyone in their programs to keep a place for the athletes that are aging, may not be able to compete the way they did or communicate the way they used to, but the inclusion is there, they need it. Please keep them in your programs and in your hearts. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Doug. Congratulations. I think you've just demonstrated the reason why you were selected. So well done. Now, on to the second inductee. I'd now like to call upon Roberta Abner to take over.
The second inductee into the 2020 LETR Richard LaMunyon Hall of Fame first ran with the Flame of Hope in 1991, but it is in more recent times that this individual has made an impression. The inductee agreed to assist with the logistics and planning for an LETR International Conference a little more than a decade ago and was clearly bitten by the LETR bug. Working closely as a team, the inductee and their partner increased their involvement in the activities of Special Olympics and the law enforcement torch run in their state over the next few years. This resulted in the inductee being selected to perform a significant logistics and planning role for the 2015 LETR World Summer Games final leg, and immediately following that, the 2015 Special Olympics World Summer Games, which were held in the inductee's home state. In 2014, the inductee was elected to the state LETR Executive Council, a role he held for a number of years. In 2016, the inductee was selected by their LETR program to participate in the 2017 LETR World Winter Games final leg held in Austria. The inductee apparently made a positive impression on the final leg team management and was subsequently selected as a team leader for the 2019 LETR World Summer Games final leg in Abu Dhabi, as well as the forthcoming 2022 LETR World Winter Games final leg in Kazan, Russia. The inductee's torch run director had the following to say: "The inductee is very deserving of this award. I believe that both the inductee and their spouse are involved with Special Olympics and LETR because they believe all athletes are a part of their family, and they want to make sure they receive the best possible. They also want to expose this wonderful relationship to others so they can experience the joy it has given them. Special Olympics is blessed to have such a strong, caring, sensitive, passionate, and loving person on its team." I would now like to introduce the second inductee of the 2020 Richard LaMunyon Hall of Fame, Mark McCorkle from Southern California and Idaho.
Wow. Thank you, Roberta. Of all people to make that presentation, thank you. I'm shocked and I'm humbled. And I would be remiss if I didn't first acknowledge yesterday's passing of Rafer Johnson. Rafer was not only one of the great Olympic athletes of all time, but he was the founder of Special Olympics Southern California. And for those of us that had the opportunity to be around Rafer, we learned what a giving, gracious, and dedicated man he was. So Godspeed, Rafer. To the Special Olympic athletes, thank you. Thank you for allowing us to participate in your program. You provide all of us more happiness and joy than we could ever repay, and for that we are forever grateful. To Chief LaMunyon, sir, thank you for your vision, your commitment. You have provided all of us a vehicle in our communities to make positive impact, and created a vehicle also for us to be a voice for individuals with intellectual disabilities. I have had the we have had the distinct pleasure of working in two very extraordinary programs. First in Southern California, Bill Schumard, our CEO, one of the most inspirational men I've ever been around. My fellow nominee, Adam Kristen, Luke Farnell, hardest working LETR liaison around. I could go on and on. Roberta, your leadership, and Kim Onlin, Blake Chow, Mike Hallinan, Bill Ayub, Bill Prohl, Erwin Rosenberg, everybody involved with the Special Olympics program that works so hard in Southern California. And to our new family in Idaho, what an incredible experience this has been. Christy Kraft, our liaison, who works so hard to get this program moving in the correct direction. Lori LaFollette, our CEO, who welcomed a group of outsiders with open arms to try to impact the program, including one of my other fellow nominees, Sean Maples from Northern California. He and Diana, his wife, have become such great friends. What an amazing experience it's been. And to all the folks outside of our program who have been so impactful in our lives, John Noonan, Don Stewart, Gary Gordon, Jeremy Adams, Ron Casalenda, who's been like a father to me. Sorry, Ron, had to do it. And Sean Byrne in Oklahoma. And I mentioned Sean's name for a very specific reason. We became friends through the LETR program, and Chief LaMunyon, I hope you appreciate this. The strength of your program is how you've connected individuals around the world. And not only is Sean a great LETR partner, he's also going to photograph our daughter's wedding in August. But lastly, and most importantly, I have to thank my wife, Jerry. We met in college 41 years ago. And little did we know at the time that we would both follow a career in law enforcement. And it was her urging that got me involved with LETR. And husbands will understand how that dynamic works. Yes, dear. And it has been arguably one of the most tremendous experiences of my life. And Jerry is the most hardest working, compassionate, giving, best event planner I've ever met in my life. And without her, and she's sitting right here behind me, say hello. Without her, this wouldn't have been possible. So to the committee, thank you. Jeff, Roberta, Scott, Paul, you're all good friends, and I am greatly appreciative, and God bless you all. And hey, we got work to do, so let's get back to work. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark, and congratulations to both you and, of course, to Jerry, who we all recognise as one of the driving forces behind you. We're now ready for the announcement of our final inductee, and I'll call on Jeremy Adams to please take the floor.
Thank you, Scott. Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, friends and colleagues, and greetings from Belfast on the Emerald Isle. I hope you're all safe and well. The final inductee into the 2010 LETR Richard LaMunyon Hall of Fame first ran with the Flame of Hope in 1985. It is said that the inductee immediately sensed the same pride and courage in the athletes that the inductee felt as a police officer. From that day forward, the inductee passionately became an advocate for Special Olympics athletes. Over the years, the inductee has created one of the largest torch runs in their state. This was achieved by organising an all-inclusive walk-run event, inviting and encouraging law enforcement officers, their families, the community, and Special Olympics athletes and families to participate in this fundraising and awareness-building event. The inductee has served on the LETR's Executive Council and was between 2006 and 2009 the LETR State Director. During this time, the inductee developed a vision to grow the state's fundraising totals from $250,000 American dollars to a target of $1 million US dollars, a goal that has been achieved. The inductee was instrumental in organising the first polar plunge in the state in 2010 and is still to this day involved in the event. In addition to this fundraising idea, the inductee has also initiated a Harley-Davidson raffle and a classic car show, both of which were immensely successful. A police chief who was asked to provide a letter of support for the inductee said the following: "The inductee has been a supporter and champion of the causes of LETR and Special Olympics since 1985. They have spread the message of LETR and Special Olympics throughout their community, their state and country, while serving as the LETR State Director from 2006 to 2009. 35 years later, the inductee's commitment to the movement is stronger than ever. The inductee has truly demonstrated exceptional leadership, commitment and dedication to the LETR causes of raising awareness of and funding for Special Olympics on a statewide basis. They have been an unwavering leader in the LETR in this state and continue to provide sound advice, direction and support for torch runners, new and seasoned alike. It is my pleasure and honour to introduce the third and final inductee of the 2010 into the LETR Richard LaMunyon Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Dave Sepper from Colorado, United States of America."
Thank you. Wow. Representing Colorado Law Enforcement Torch Run, I'm honored and humbled to have been selected into the Torch Run Hall of Fame. I'd first like to congratulate my fellow nominees. Well done. I guarantee that all of the nominees, past, present, and future, will tell you that the success and recognition of one does not happen. It does not happen without the support, dedication, and teamwork of many. That being said, I'd like to thank and recognize my many. First, my family, my wife, Jamie, our son, JD, and my brother, Chuck, for their continued support and shared passion for the Torch Run mission and people with intellectual disabilities, or what we like to say around here, athletes with abilities. Thank you very much. My blue family, the Boulder Police Department, since day one, my administrations and all the employees have embraced the Torch Run mission to make a difference in the lives of Special Olympic athletes. In fact, many of our Torch Run events become best practices for others, something to be proud of within the police department. I'd be remiss if I didn't recognize two of our officers who have been with me since the beginning as organizing committee members, event logistics, and recruitment, the backbone of the success of our Boulder Police Torch Run. Officer Sue Barklow and Georgette Johnson. Thank you. My Torch Run and Special Olympics family. Throughout the years, I've been blessed to have worked alongside so many dedicated law enforcement, torch runners, and Special Olympics staff. Through executive council, organizing committees, and just boots on the ground events, I've been very fortunate to be part of the Special Olympics inclusion revolution. So many people to recognize, but I'll just mention just a few to represent all of the Colorado Torch Run. These are the Sam Trujillos, the Ralph Mayers, the the Brian McKnights of the world that truly make the difference. And thank you to all of them. Our recent Colorado Torch Run success could not have been without our Special Olympics staff torch run directors, the Jans, Jan Gordon and Jan Renotti. They are truly the heart of our torch run efforts, and I want to thank them both. And lastly, my Special Olympics athlete families. The athletes, these are why we do what we do. In addition to raising awareness and funds, we also try to ease their pain, as well as celebrate their courageous accomplishments. Truth be told, they ease our pain. Unfortunately, in law enforcement, we deal with a lot of ugly in society. Without our relationships, or with our relationships in the torch run and with Special Olympic athletes, we are able to experience the true beauty in the world. From the bottom of my heart, I thank the Special Olympic athlete. God bless, and thank you all.
Well said, Dave. Congratulations. Now, I know that many of you regularly attend our annual international conference. Those of you who fit into that category would have heard about the impact that Chief LaMunyon has had on so many people. But on the off chance that there are people viewing this broadcast who haven't had that experience, some history might be in order. The law enforcement torch run is a heritage we can all lay claim to, but it is the legacy of one man, retired Chief Richard LaMunyon. Chief LaMunyon would tell you that in 1981, he had no grand vision for a movement which would grow to involve more than 110,000 law enforcement personnel annually in 45 countries around the globe, an endeavor which to date has raised over $860 million to benefit Special Olympics athletes. In becoming a police officer, Richard LaMunyon had ignored his dad's advice, which was, don't become a policeman, become a fireman. Everyone loves a fireman. He obtained his master's in administration of justice and eventually became the unassuming chief of police in Wichita, Kansas. Chief LaMunyon carried the weight that any chief of a good-sized city would, dealing with budgets, crime stats, personnel issues, the council, and an insidious serial killer. But he also had a knack for recognizing promising ideas when he saw them. Seeing an opportunity to unite law enforcement and the community, he okayed 6 of his officers to run across Wichita. Passing a torch relay style, they raised a small amount of money which was donated to Special Olympics Kansas. And let me tell you, that happened on, I think, June the 5th, 1981. So it's almost 40 years ago. 2 years later, he approached the International Association of Chiefs of Police with the idea of broadening this fledgling torch run. His proposal was adopted, and consequently, we've seen explosive growth over these past 39 years. Working closely with Sergeant and Eunice Kennedy Shriver, founders of the Peace Corps and of Special Olympics respectively, Chief LaMunyon forged the exquisite relationship between LETR and Special Olympics we enjoy today. Chief LaMunyon retired from the Wichita Police Department in 1989. In 2000, he was coaxed into accepting the city manager position of nearby Mays, Kansas, where he and his wife Sharon had sent their children to school over the years. He recently celebrated his 80th birthday and is still working. He's continuing in that position to this day. Could you please welcome the Chairman Emeritus of the Law Enforcement Torch Run International Executive Council, Richard LaMunyon.
Thank you, Scott. I appreciate that kind introduction, and I am humbled, as our inductees have said, and it's an honor and privilege to be here with you today. You know, as listening to, and I want to congratulate all of the people that were nominated for this, and it is, in fact, an honor to go through the process, and I appreciate the fact that the Hall of Fame committee years ago decided to let me off of it because it's a difficult decision to make. There's so many people that should be on the stage as we normally do it, as opposed to the way we're doing it today. But I compliment the committee for their decision, and the individuals who we have just heard from today are representative of the thousands and thousands of law enforcement officers here and around the world that take charge of their particular programs and move forward with the law enforcement torch run. You know, and as we reflect back on this year, you know, we've all said, you know, this obviously is a unusual year, to say the least. We've all been sequestered into our homes or into our communities in different ways. But I'm excited and pleased and really overwhelmed by the way that the Executive Council, Scott, and all the others have taken the lead to keep the cooperation, to keep not only the cooperation, but the communications going, because that's the key. As we have built this program, we being all of you and those that have come before you, there have always been challenges. There have always been bumps in the road. There's always been ways that we've had to make detours and do things and take a deep breath. But we've always come through it stronger, and that's exactly what's going to happen in this particular case. I want to tell you that it's been fun. In fact, I got off the phone yesterday with my grandson, who's a law enforcement officer in Wichita here, and he's now going to be looking forward to working with the Executive Council here in the state of Kansas. So that's another torch run that's been passed. I ran into one of the young officers that I didn't even know yesterday at the gym, and he came up and introduced himself to me. A young officer, a little over 2 years on the Wichita Police Department, and he too is involved in the law enforcement torch run. So it is something that is self-sustaining, and because of the individuals who are recognized, who are put into the Hall of Fame, it's because of them and all of the thousands that they represent that have built the foundation for the law enforcement torch run, which ensures that it will continue and grow stronger. The partnership that has been developed over the years with the law enforcement torch run and Special Olympics International, starting with Eunice and with Sarge, that was some of the greatest relationships that I've ever had growing something. And now we have Tim and Kelly's and all of their staff, and we're walking hand in hand for our athletes. And our athletes are our inspiration. And it's been said by the inductees already, but once you get involved, you're involved. And I think it was Mark that said that Jerry had to push him into it or something. But the point is, this is something that is worldwide. It's something that works in every culture, every community. And because it takes care of what we do in law enforcement every day. We reach across the boundaries that we as human beings throw up, whatever that boundary is. And our athletes come from all of those backgrounds. And when we come together, and we come together in unity, that's what makes this thing work. So I am so pleased and so honored and so thankful for the organization that we have, but it's you as a part of the organization that continues to make it function and to grow. And I look forward to the opportunity to come together again, and it will be, and it won't be too far off. And we will be able to take the basis here. In the meantime, what we need to do is within our neighborhoods, within our communities, within our states, within our provinces, within our countries together, make sure that you maintain that bond. Stay with our special athletes. Let them know that we're there. Work with them. Do what you can in terms of maintaining that, because all of us are going through this together. And when we go into it hand in hand, as unified as we are now, we will come out stronger on the backside. Our flame that started here in Kansas, like the flicker that we've talked about, now is a roaring flame of stability around the world. That flame will not be diminished. It will continue. And the reason it will continue is because of people who have just been inducted into the Hall of Fame, and those that came before them, and those that will come after them. Thank you all for the opportunity, allowing me to be a part of it. And as we go forward from here, think positive, because we will survive this. This will be a simple little bump in the road, and we will be stronger than ever. And our flame will be like the deacon on the hill. God bless, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you for attending our Hall of Fame induction ceremony. And thank you for allowing me to be your host. It has been difficult times for all of us, but my fellow athletes and I know that you will continue to carry the flame of hope into the future, and we will all be back strong than ever. Congratulations to all our nominees and this year's inductees into the Hall of Fame. God bless, stay safe, and good night.